Good afternoon, Sean here from Mountains Garage. Today we're going to assemble an AN fitting and hose. AN stands for the sealing end. AN, which is Army Navy, it's a 37-degree taper seat, also known as JIC. Those names are interchangeable. These also come in different ends, 45 degree, you name it, to fit all kinds of stuff, banjo. So the name of my video should actually be reusable hose end videos, because this stuff's reusable. You unthread it, take it apart down the road, you can make a different hose. If you make a mistake and you make one too short, you're gonna need more hose. You can make a longer hose. If you make it too long, obviously you can shorten it up. Let me show you some of the tools. When I measure for a hose, I measure where the threaded end stops, because you're going to push that down over the hose, and that's exactly where the hose is going to sit. So I disregard that, and I just measure from, which is where my end of my fitting is pretty much going to be, that's connecting to. I find it easy just to measure, from there to there. Piece of cake. You need to wrap that in duct tape as tight as you can, the hose. And I use a 14-inch abrasive chop saw. I find that to be the easiest and leave less wire braid hanging out. Don't force it through, let it do its work. The more you push, the more it's going to want to flare out at the bottom. So that's how I cut the hose. I do the same with cloth. Some people use like a battery cable cutter. I've never tried that, but I got an idea it probably flares out the wire braid, which is the only hard part about assembling this. Soft jaws. I've had these forever. They're magnetic. They fit in your vise. That's what's going to hold my fitting when I put it together. And you'll see that in a few minutes. I swear it's magnetic. There we go. All right, so I'm going to tape up my hose and go cut it in the saw. I'll be right back. All right, so I've wrapped it and cut it in the chop saw. That's the piece I'm not using, but I leave it wrapped while it's in storage, but you cannot assemble the hose end with the tape on it. That's a mistake. Can't do that. Next step, this is left-hand thread, if you will. This is going to go on the hose this way, but first you need to get it over the wire braid without flaring the wire braid. I squeeze a little bit and cock it and put it on, and at the last second I push with my finger, and I've just started this on here now. See if I can turn it so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to turn it counterclockwise. I look down inside, and it needs to be flush with the end right there. You can hopefully see it. Now, lube. You got to have lube. I'm going to lube the hose inside, and I'm going to lube the cone of the fitting. Any light oil, I happen to have this Marvel Mystery Oil, transmission fluid, motor oil, whatever you have, just need something slippery, because that is going to go down inside the hose and flare it out against the fitting. And it goes pretty easy, but you got to have lube. You don't want to jam it in dry. Now let me put it in the soft jaws and we'll assemble it. Okay, I got it mounted in the soft jaw. I've taken a Sharpie and I've actually marked on the silver wire braid right below the red to make sure I don't push that out. When I'm done, that mark needs to be in the same spot or I made a mistake. I also lube the threads. I didn't mention that last time. Going to start it in. It'll start by hand. Going to go as far as I can by hand. Why not? Starting to get tight. Now, I have a whole drawer full of actual aluminum AN wrenches. Seldom do they actually fit. Now, I've got the red up above the soft jaw, so I won't crash this into my soft jaws. And when I put the adjustable on here, I want to be high enough that the black fitting doesn't crash into the red. There's not much to work with, but just got to be careful. Spin it around. Let me go down a little more right there. Still going. Got to go all the way to see flush, but I don't want to crash it into the red. Scratch up my fitting. Almost there. And with it. So now, that's my mark that I started with. It's still in the right spot. Now, you think you're done, but you're not. This hose is now full of black rubbery goo from when you cut it. So now I run it carb cleaner through it, a brake cleaner, and I blow it out with air, both directions. If you don't, everything downstream of your brand new hose, like for instance, if this was a cooler line for a transmission, all that stuff just went through your converter, valve body, gonna stick everything up. If you plumb a lot of hydraulics, there's a name for it in the industry, I forget what it's called, but when they start a vehicle up for the first time, like a big fire truck with 1,000 fittings in it, and all of a sudden all the valves are stuck because nobody cleaned the hose. Super important. But there's my hose, my drain hose. It's beautiful. Not bad for, I say, imported stuff. I assume it's imported. The box wasn't marked, so usually the manufacturer will put the name on it otherwise, but it'll work. So that was it. It really is that easy. That whole process probably took 2 or 3 minutes, including filming the video. The hardest part, like I mentioned, is just getting the ferrule, if you will, over the wire braid. Cloth hose, really easy. Wire braid, if you're careful, cut it correctly, wrap it with tape, carefully untape it, gently start that. Once you start it over, it'll pop right on. If you try to just force it on, it'll just flare that wire stuff out, and it's a mess, and your hands are bleeding. And you're gonna hate, wire braided stainless lines. You're gonna hate it if you don't know how to do it. I fought with it when I was a kid. But when you get it right, they make good stuff, and this is race car stuff, well, it's good stuff. All right, that's it for today. Like and subscribe, all that stuff. I'll shoot some more videos. Talk to you later, bye.